How to upgrade firmware on an EasyCoder PFMX-Series LCD industrial printer. The first step in upgrading the printer's firmware version is to choose an upgrade method. The PFMX-Series printers can be flashed via network, configuration tool, Printset 4 or 5 depending on model, or CF compact flash. This video will only cover the network and configuration tool methods. For more information, you can check our knowledge base articles available on sps.honeywell.com or the user guide for the printer in question. Upgrading the firmware using the web admin console. The first step is to make sure that the printer can be reached with the web browser. Find its IP by pressing the I or information key and writing down the printer's current or claimed IP. Enter the printer's IP into the address bar of the web browser. Once the printer's web admin console loads, click on the Maintenance tab at the top of the window. A request for the printer's credentials should pop up. The default full access credentials are username, admin, password, PASS. Enter the full access username and password and then click on the OK button. Still on the Maintenance tab of the web admin console, browse to the desktop and then double-click on the firmware.bin file. For example, to upgrade the firmware to v8.82.0 with that is simultaneously factory default, double-click on the multi8820_fd.bin file. Click on the Upgrade button to start the upgrade or reflash. Once the firmware upgrade or reflash is complete, the printer will reboot. The web admin console should show Upgrade Successful and Rebooting. The printer should now display its command language and its new firmware version number, for example, IPL 2.76.1 or Fingerprint 8.76.1. Upgrade the firmware using Printset v4. Download and install Printset v4 from our FTP site. From Software, Printers, Printer Software and Drivers, Printer Configuration Tools. Add the printer in Printset 4. Select the printer from the My Printers list in the left-hand Printset panel. Select the Firmware Wizard and the Printer Test listing in the far right panel. On the Welcome page, click on the Next button to continue. On the Select Firmware File page, browse to the desired firmware upgrade file and then double-click on it. Click on the Next button to continue. The printer should now display its command language and its new firmware version number. For example, IPL 2.76.1 or Fingerprint 8.76.1.